What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the LNBE podcast, where LNBE stands for literally nothing but everything. I'm Mike Rispoli, and let's get into it. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but I put out an episode on Friday, so if you haven't had a chance to check that out, please do. I actually did put out a poll on Instagram asking if you guys would prefer if I put these episodes out on Friday rather than Tuesday, but I really didn't get that much input. So until further notice, I think what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and put out 2 episodes a week, just because I've already stuck with Tuesdays. So for those of you who like it on Tuesdays, I'll continue doing that. And then for the people who like it on Fridays, I'll adhere to you guys and I'll put something out then too. Fair warning, I'm not 100% sure on how I'm going to structure it yet. But as I said on Friday, I also think that the more I put out, the more practice I can get, which I think we all know that I kind of need here. But if you guys do like the pod, please continue to like, share, and subscribe, comment, rate it, review it, do whatever you got to do to help me out. Your efforts have not gone unnoticed. I really do appreciate it. If you guys want to write in, you can reach out to me at lnbemedia@gmail.com if you want to send me an email regarding any suggestions that you have. I'm more than willing to listen to you guys. The more that I get from you, the more that I can adhere to you, whether it be podcast topics, whether it be ways that I can make this thing better, anything that you guys want to give me. Hell, even if it's just something of you want advice on something. I'm not necessarily sure how much I can help you, but I can do my best with it. Just anything that you guys can do to give me some sort of engagement, so I also get to learn a little bit more about you guys and what's going on in your life. But sharing, rating, commenting, all of that would really help boost this thing if you guys like it. And also, please make sure that you also check me out on my socials on TikTok and Instagram at the LNBE Pod. And also, as I mentioned on Friday, if you guys do write in, if you don't want your name thrown out there, I'll just reiterate what I said on Friday, which is maybe we can come up with a pseudonym, or if you want to DM me on my Insta and TikTok, I could just read off by your social handle, whatever it is that you guys want to do. If you want to keep it anonymous, that's fine too. You just got to let me know ahead of time, because I'm thinking I could also read out some of the comments that you guys give me or some of the write-ins that you give me, and hopefully that can start an open discussion on things. And honestly, maybe one of the open discussions that we could have is the fact that if you guys listen to me on Apple Podcasts, I actually just uploaded my host photo on it, and I don't know what happened. I went back and forth with Apple on this so many times, getting the size right. They finally accepted it. And what ended up happening was when it got uploaded, I finally saw it, and my photo is absolutely tiny. I don't know if Apple didn't want me to get a big head or whatever, but I kind of looked like that character in Beetlejuice, the guy with the tiny head. So I'm definitely going to have to reach out to them about that again, because that's absolute nonsense. And speaking of absolute nonsense, has anybody else's like Insta or TikTok or socials or whatever? I've just been seeing a bunch of Frankie Valli stuff, and I didn't even think that guy was still alive, if I'm going to be completely honest. I mean, my God, Frankie Valli, more like Frankie old enough to see when the valley formed. Jeez almighty, that dude is old. I honestly don't even know how he's getting up and performing. Does he have a residency somewhere? Like, who's paying to see him? And what's crazy is the fact that he's just got like an obvious backing track so we could lip sync, because there's no way in hell that he's able to get his voice that high. The only thing that's higher than the backing track is him on stage with whatever they're pumping him with, just to make him look alive. And you know he's getting pumped full of shit because he doesn't blink. The dude's like Ozzy. I mean, my gosh. Oh, and you might say that this is elder abuse because I'm making fun of an old guy. But you know what? No. The only thing that's elder abuse is whatever mob boss has him getting up there on stage. I mean, does this guy owe somebody money? How old is this guy? Hang on, let me look this up. Give me 1 second. How old is Frankie Valli? He's 90. The dude is 90. Oh my God. He's almost old enough to be president. Holy crap. Dude's 90. Dude, honestly, like, he looks more surprised to be on stage than I was seeing him on stage. It's ridiculous. I remember like weeks back, I tried to do a segment on guys that should just give it up. Talk about a guy that should give it up. He doesn't even look like he wants to be there. Like, why is he still doing this? But what's even more sad, honestly, than him trying to perform is the fact that people are just going to pay for mediocrity, which kind of explains our presidential candidates right now. My God. Let me just go ahead and ask this. Does anybody plan on even watching the debates? I am planning on watching them, unfortunately. Why? I don't know. I'm just a glutton for punishment. Plus, if I'm being honest, I also really got nothing else better to do. But I think it's just so funny how the media's trying to portray this. Like, they're trying to portray it like it's almost like a boxing match. Like, Vance, Waltz, tune in as they dance around the questions. Like, my God. It's honestly just stupid. If they were smart, they probably would have hosted this thing on Halloween because I honestly can't think of anything more scary besides an actual presidential debate. I am just so over it. I'm sorry, guys. I know recently I've been trying to avoid politics here. If you guys are feeling the same way I am about this, I can only imagine. I mean, I honestly don't even know what the point is of having the vice presidential debate. Like, the vice president really holds no purpose besides being there. God forbid something were to happen to the president, and the fact that they're the deciding vote in Congress or the Senate or whatever it is, if it even comes to that. Like, being vice president is probably the best job in politics, if I'm going to be honest. You're pretty much just playing backup quarterback. Like, all you gotta do is stand in the background, have a nice smile, and have a speech prepared or two, and you're good. Like, that's it. But what I also think is really funny is part of the reason why I want to watch it too is because I want to see what JD Vance looks like, because every single media outlet that I see him on, they just cake him in makeup. And I'm just like, are they just trying to pander to the trans audience here with that? Like, you could see the eyeliner on him. It's really bad. And I don't know why they're doing it. Probably just to make his eyes pop a little bit. So I'm honestly curious to see how Waltz looks in comparison, because I haven't really seen that guy do many media stuff. So I am curious to see how that looks. But fun facts, I actually did wear makeup one time in my life. I remember for high school, we had senior dress up day, and I went as like a rock star. And I went the full nine. Like, I got a long wig. I even got tattoo sleeves because at that point I did not have tattoos. But yeah, man, I had my sisters put eyeliner on me. Holy shit, what women have to go through for that? Dude, that shit kind of hurts. I'm not going to lie. Because you kind of, from what I remember, this was, oh my gosh, to 10 years ago. I remember like just this feeling of like a stinging feeling, and this is for all the people who have not worn eyeliner before in their life, because it literally just goes like right underneath where your eyelashes are, and I don't know if it's just like the chemicals or whatever the fuck, but it friggin' hurt. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that what women go through or what trans women go through. Is it trans women or trans? Yeah, trans women. Them putting on makeup or people who do drag, dude. Kudos to you, because that is not. I would literally rather sit through a tattoo appointment than have my eyes done with eyeliner again. I'll tell you that right now. Actually, speaking of my tattoo, since I have it on my forearm, you never realize how much you bump into shit with your forearm until you get a tattoo. Because if you don't have a tattoo, you're pretty much just have like this open skin wound. I mean, it's not like a gaping hole in your skin, but you do some damage to it, and it's sensitive. And like carrying laundry, going through door frames, whatever it is, like you're just constantly bumping your forearm into shit, and you're just like, oh God. You know what it's like? It's honestly like you never know that your pinky toe is there until you slam it up against your bed frame on your way back from 2 a.m. piss. Like, that's exactly what it's like. It sucks. But yeah, man, I mean, it's starting to heal up pretty nice now. I'm pretty much like 90% of the way there. I really love this tattoo. Again, if you guys are trying to get some tattoo work done and you're in the Stanford area, I would definitely check out Cultured Ink. All those guys are great. I am definitely going to be going back because now I kind of want to get the rest of my stuff fixed up in the style that this artist, Jesse, did my latest tattoo in. So I'll keep you posted on that. That's probably not going to happen for a while. But all right, so since I talked about senior dress-up day back when I was in high school, we're approaching Halloween, and we are officially in the fall season as of now when this episode comes out. So, what do you guys like to do during the fall? You guys gonna go apple picking? I I can tell you right now that I will not be partaking in apple picking because I do not have a girlfriend, and nobody goes apple picking if they don't have a significant other. It's kind of like that line in Couples Retreat when Vince Vaughn goes, "Nobody goes to Applebee's alone." It's like Frankie Valli level sad if you're going apple picking by yourself. Like, what's the point? And honestly, for myself, I'm not paying $25 for $5 apples. But yeah, I mean, I don't see myself partaking in anything fall related except maybe watching some movies. But I gotta be honest, I'm not a fan of horror films. I mean, I've never even seen The Exorcist, and honestly, like, I pissed off enough women in my life already to see a chick's head spin. So I don't know if I want to relive that. However, it really does kind of make me wonder, what is it about people, if you are a fan of horror, like, what is it about those types of movies that you are just totally drawn to? Especially when it comes to possession stuff. That shit just tweaks me the fuck out, man. But if your favorite genre of movie is horror, I feel like you gotta check your hard drive. Like, I don't understand how somebody would avidly want to just be scared. And I understand it's a matter of the thrill and the unexpected and all that. But I could get the same amount of thrill and unexpected when somebody says something really raunchy or something in a comedic movie. Like, what is so fun about getting scared? Nobody grew up with siblings. You never had your sibling like lurking around the back corner of something while you're walking by it and they scare you. Like, nobody finds that shit fun. Except for the person who's doing the scaring. What I really don't understand is people who are into the gory type stuff, like the Saw movies and stuff. Like, if that's your vibe, there's gotta be some wires crossed. And I'm not saying that I haven't seen any horrors or any thriller movies, because I have. I'm actually a big fan of Scream. I love Scream. It's also kind of funny because I saw that movie a little bit later in life, so I'm like, Shaggy, what are you doing? I didn't know Shaggy was a murderer. But yeah, I've seen Jaws, obviously. Who hasn't seen Jaws? I have never seen, what's the one with Jack Nicholson with the hallway? Never seen that one. I can't remember the name of it. It'll come to me at some point. But I have seen Silence of the Lambs, and I thought that movie was going to be way weirder than it was. It's actually just a really great film. And what I think is amazing about the movie is Anthony Hopkins is only in it for like, I think a combined 12 minutes, but he's just such a presence in that movie that everybody thinks he's like a true main character. I mean, he kind of is a main character because he low-key kind of helps the detective out with the case, but he's only on screen for a limited amount of time. And the fact that I think he won Best Supporting Actor for that movie is crazy, considering the lack of time he was in it. But yeah, I mean, I guess, what are your favorite fall movies? Or what are your favorite, like, horror movies? I will subject myself to watching a horror film if you guys suggest them. But keep in mind, I'm not going to say that it's my favorite. I remember when I was in high school, my friends and my sisters dragged me to go see Sinister. Sinister is actually kind of a good film. If you haven't seen that, I would actually recommend that one. It's really interesting. And that's like the only movie that I can do when it comes to possession. I don't want to give it away, but there is some level of possession in that movie. But I don't know, that shit just like that stuff just it really just tweaks me out. The problem is it's too real. Like, there are cases in the Vatican of like true exorcisms, and that stuff, that's why I'm like, the fact that like it's just way too real. And I mean, obviously, like, murderers and shit, serial killers, all that's also real, but to have a spiritual element of just true evil. And I mean, honestly, like, look at Diddy. If that's not a case of exorcism, I don't know what is. That dude is just awful. I gotta be honest, the more that I read about Diddy, the more that I hear about the stuff, the more I just need a meme made of Charlie from Always Sunny in Philadelphia with the whiteboard behind him, because I can't even wrap my head around what's going on here. It seems like everybody and anybody is involved. On social platforms, I saw somebody post that the list came out with all the celebrities, and I saw like people that I never would have expected. Like, Ryan Reynolds was on there. Blake Lively was on there, obviously, because she's married to him. But apparently Beyoncé is involved with this. And now there's a theory going out there that back in 2009, when Kanye went crazy with Taylor Swift winning, what was it, Music Video of the Year or whatever, that the reason why he pinned Beyonce's video as being better than Taylor's is actually a way to give Beyonce kudos so that way she wouldn't go after Taylor. Like, there's a lot of shit that's going on. I think Jay-Z and Beyonce are going to be going down soon. It just depends on what Diddy says. But I think there's a lot of stuff that's really going to come out. And what's the deal with Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis getting divorced? Everybody saw that Hot Ones thing where Ashton Kutcher was like, oh, can't talk about that. Can't talk about that. Can't mention that story because he was talking about Diddy parties. And it's like, what was your involvement? And now it's kind of making sense why Ashton wrote a letter to Danny Masterson trying to proclaim his innocence during that whole scandal. But I also think that Mila was groomed, and I think that this kind of brought it to light, and that's why she's like separating from him, because she's like, hey, you were a part of this, and I really didn't even know it. Like, what the hell is going on here? But you know what? I actually have a little conspiracy theory myself. Remember when Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce and we're all just like, why the fuck is she still with him? Jay-Z looks like a potato you microwave too long. There's no way somebody that ugly could bag somebody like Beyonce. Beyonce is a goddess. So, like, the fact that she stuck with him, and part of me wonders if the reason why she stuck with him is because there's so much dirt on him that she was like, if I leave him, a bunch of shit's gonna come out and I can't go down with this ship. It's low-key kind of giving like Bill and Hillary vibes. Like, I can't leave him because he's too powerful and I kind of need him because he gets me to where I need to be in the industry. And I really can't wait to see what the trial brings out, because if anybody doesn't think that Diddy was not involved with Tupac's and Biggie's murders, they are insane. I think he 100% had a hand in that. But all right, let's kind of get into some sports stuff just because I got to talk about it. My fantasy teams are just awful. I made a lot of bad picks. One of my teams is actually doing very well so far. As of now, I think I'm like 2-1. I'm about to be 3-1. So one of them is doing pretty well. One of them I'm 0-3 because I got McCaffrey, Puka, and Hollywood Brown, and they're all on injured reserve, and they're not coming back for the season. McCaffrey just came out and said that he's got Achilles issues in both of his legs. So I'm just like, all right, this guy's done. So I don't know what's going on with that league. And then one of my other leagues, I got Jalen Hurts. And holy crap, if anybody did not watch that Eagles game, Jalen Hurts looked awful. At one point, I think I saw that the Bucs had 250 yards and the Eagles had none. So is that coaching? Because honestly, with a roster and a team like that with the Eagles, there is no excuse as to how you could just have 0 yards and a half. Like, that's just not possible. And I think Sirianni is an overrated coach. I would not be surprised if we saw Bill Belichick go to the Eagles next year. That would be very fascinating. I don't know, man. I think this year the Eagles are just total frauds, but I mean, I was wrong on some fantasy stuff, so I could be wrong about this. Let's be real here. But as of now, I think comeback player of the year looks to be Sam Darnold. Holy crap, that dude went from seeing ghosts on the Jets to having spirit guides on his shoulders because the Vikings look insane. That defense is out of this world. Sam Darnold has the most touchdown passes. Colin Cowherd for years has been praising this guy, saying that he just never really had a shot. I always thought Cowherd was crazy for saying that. Sam Darnold is balling out. He looks great. I initially thought that Rodgers was going to be comeback player of the year, but my God, how the hell do you lose to a team that had -7 yards in the first half? But the one thing I really got to talk about is the Pats game. I think we all know I got to talk about the Pats game. I think the Pats just look sad. I mean, I think they look better than we all thought, and it's really sad the fact that the Pats just lost to the Jets team, considering they literally couldn't beat a team that had -7 yards in the first half this week. And I've been bitching for the past 3 weeks now that field goals will not win you games, and that's exactly what Greg Olsen said as well. But I will say, that holding call on Kittle in the second quarter was kind of BS. That wasn't a hold. And I think the refs kind of thought they were calling a Chiefs game. But, I mean, the only bright spot was when Brissett made that one deep throw to Polk. And it's kind of like, dude, if you could just do more of that. And maybe I'm just a biased Pats fan, but to me, he looked in. It looked like his shoulder and his foot were both in bounds before they called him out. But my biggest gripe is the fact that they're just kind of like me trying to get to work in the morning. The Pats just have no sense of urgency. You're down like 3 scores and you're not calling the hurry up. It was just driving me absolutely crazy. Oh, speaking of crazy, reminds me, The Shining. I knew it would come back to me. And with that, I think that does it. If you guys like this episode, please share it, subscribe, write up a review, give me a 5-star rating, do whatever you guys gotta do to help me out. Your efforts have not gone unnoticed. I do really appreciate every single one of you. Make sure you check me out on my socials. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at the LNBE Pod. And if you guys want to write in, please feel free to do so. You can email me at lnbemedia@gmail.com. Alright people, that does it for me. I'll catch up with you on Friday. I hope you all have a fantastic week, and thank you so much for listening.